Hi, and welcome back to Plating It with Wendy, where I share with you recipes which impress with ease. Today let's make some sweet Easter treats. You can't go wrong with these perfect chocolate cupcakes. We'll ice them with a velvety smooth buttercream frosting, and I'll even show you how to make some easy Easter cupcake toppers. If you enjoy watching my videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. So now let's get started. Let's start by preheating our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and lining our cupcake tray. This recipe calls for 1 cup of buttermilk. For that, I'm going to be taking 1 cup of milk and adding 1 tablespoon of vinegar, giving it a good stir and leaving it aside to do its thing. You could even buy buttermilk directly from the grocery store, but since it has a very short expiration date, this is an easy way of making it whenever you need it. Let's mix the dry ingredients. For this, we're going to use 1.5 cup of all-purpose flour, half a cup of cocoa powder. I'm using Dutch processed cocoa powder here. Half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda. Since we're using buttermilk in the recipe, the acid in the buttermilk is going to react with the baking soda and give the cupcakes a nice lift. And half a teaspoon of salt. Now let's sift this together so that we incorporate some air and also that all the ingredients gets well combined. And if there are any lumps in the flour or definitely in the cocoa powder, we can always break them down. To that, let's add 1 cup of white granulated sugar. And now we'll just give this a light whisk. Let's leave it aside and now mix the wet ingredients. For the wet ingredients, we're going to start by beating up 2 eggs. These should be at room temperature. I'm just going to break them down a little bit. Now let's add half a cup of vegetable oil and the 1 cup of buttermilk that we made, and 1 tablespoon of pure vanilla extract. And to this, I'm also going to be adding half a tablespoon of instant coffee. This is just to enhance the flavor of the cocoa powder. I'm going to give it a good whisk and make sure it gets well incorporated. Now let's mix the wet ingredients with our dry ingredients. To add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients, let's make a little well in the center so that it doesn't all just splash up in a cloud in our face. And now add the wet ingredients in. And you're going to whisk it together, but very lightly. Don't over mix because you don't want to make the batter tough. By over mixing, you're going to only be working up the gluten in the flour. Make sure to scrape down your bowl and even the bottom so that you don't have any dry flour at the bottom. Now just to make it a little more chocolatey, let's add about half a cup of chocolate chips into the cupcakes. Just a light mix. Now let's fill our cupcake trays. Let's fill the cupcake tray now with the batter. I'm going to be using a medium-sized ice cream scoop to fill the cupcakes. We're going to fill them till they're 2/3 full. And if it's a little less, you can always go back and fill it up a bit more. You don't want to overfill it because you don't want them coming up too high. Now let's pop these into the oven and bake them for about 20 to 22 minutes. We've taken the cupcakes out of the oven, and when you insert a toothpick into it, when it comes out clean, you know that it is done. When you take them out of the oven, you're going to leave them in the cupcake tray for about 5 minutes because when they're still hot, they're still baking. And then you're going to transfer them onto a wire rack to cool completely. To make our cupcake toppers, I've taken a little bowl of yellow fondant. You can even use marzipan if you like. And I'm going to cut it into 6 bits so that we can make small little chickens with it. Now roll each section into a bowl and then taper it to one end to form a mini egg. And we're going to give it a little indent in the center so that we can form like a head and a body. And because I'm using fondant, I'm just going to put a little water so that the eyes stick to it. But if you're using marzipan, you would want to use egg white instead. And for the eyes, I'm going to use poppy seeds. Now with a little orange color fondant, I'm going to put a mouth for the chicken. For the beak, I've taken a little piece of the orange fondant and I roll it into a bowl, and now I'm going to taper it and then with a scissor give it a little cut to form the beak. And now again I'm going to apply a little water and then attach the beak to the chicken. And there the little chick has hatched. Wasn't that easy? Now that the chickens are ready, let's make some carrots. For that I've taken a bowl of orange fondant and I'm going to divide it into 6 portions. It doesn't really have to be equal portions, approximate would be fine. You're going to take each portion and then roll it into a ball and now taper it to one end to look like a carrot. Now using the blunt side of a knife, we're just going to make insertions, not very deep ones, but just the marks so that it looks like a carrot. These are the kind of cuts you're looking for on the carrot. Now let's attach some stalks to it. To make the stalks, I've taken a small ball of green fondant and I'm just going to roll it out and then cut it into small stalks and attach it to the carrot. That I'm just going to roll it out. And now we're going to cut this into small bits. We're going to use these bits to form the stalk of the carrot. You're going to apply a little water to the top of the carrot. This is going to help the stalk to stick to the carrot. And then you're going to give it a little push in there so it sticks. And then I'm going to put 2 of them. And there our carrot is ready. Now let's frost our cupcakes with some nice light and fluffy chocolate buttercream frosting. For that I'm using 1 cup of unsalted butter. You can also use salted butter, and we're going to cream this till it's nice and light and fluffy. You'll want to cream the butter for at least 5 minutes because we want it to turn nice and light. The creaming of the butter plays a very important role in getting a nice light and fluffy buttercream frosting. You gradually want to increase the speed of your mixer so that the butter gets creamed well. You could even use a stand mixer to do this. You'll want to stop for a bit and just scrape down your bowl so that you get all the butter that's stuck to the sides of the bowl. This is the color that you want the butter to turn to, a nice pale lemon. To the butter, we're going to now add 5 cups of icing sugar. That we're going to do that in thirds. I've already sifted the icing sugar and we're going to add half a cup of cocoa powder. That too I have sifted already. The icing sugar might seem a lot, but since we are adding cocoa powder, we need to add more icing sugar. Give the bowl a scrape occasionally so that all the ingredients that are stuck to the sides also gets well mixed up. Now let's add the last of our icing sugar and the cocoa powder at the same time. And we're going to start this on very low speed and then gradually increase it. It might look a little dry, but we're going to add some milk to it to loosen it up. I'm first going to add some vanilla for flavoring. I've got half a cup of milk and I'm just going to add it a 1/4 cup at a time. And I'm just going to beat it up for a little while more so that I incorporate some more air into the frosting. I'm going to increase the speed a bit. See, it's nice and light and fluffy. Now that we've done all the prep work, let's start decorating our cupcakes. I'm going to be using this nozzle to decorate the cupcakes. And I'm going to fit into a piping bag that I've cut. You can even use a Ziploc bag if you don't have a piping bag. I'm just going to fill that up. And then give it a good twist on the top so that there's no air. Now let's start piping our cupcake. This is going to give us the look of a nest. As you can see, we've created a nest, and now we're going to place the chicks and the eggs into this. For the carrots, let's decorate our cupcakes with a star tip nozzle. Now for the final touch, let's pipe some buttercream in the center and place our carrots on the first one, and the little chickens that we made in the second, and some Hershey's chocolate eggs in the third. And there you have it, your Easter treats. To go with my Easter treats, I've made some cookies. I've used the same recipe as my white chocolate macadamia nut recipe. The link will appear now at the top. I've only changed the mix-ins and I've put the Easter color M&Ms to them. Aren't these adorable? I hope you give this recipe a try. I'm sure they're going to make a great addition to your Easter dessert table. If you're new to my channel or haven't subscribed already, subscribe and hit on the bell icon to get a notification every Friday when I upload new videos. If you enjoy watching my videos, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and leave me your comments below. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. The information is in the description below. Thanks for watching. See you soon.